Hey, this is Irvin Griffin, and as you see to the photo down near the center of the subject of this, well, sort of the subject of this, Sean Combs, better known as Puff Daddy, or later on as P Diddy to just Diddy. Before I say what I'm gonna say, let me say this right now. Legally, we don't know we do know what he's been charged with, but we don't know if he's really guilty or not. In a court of law, my personal gut feeling, just putting it out there, my opinion, my personal gut feeling is he's guilty of at least some of this. And even some of this can put him in jail for a long time. I'll be honest, musical legacy, you can't take anything away from him. But I've always been a bigger fan of his artists than I was of him. There was just something just never quite right about this guy that just felt off. Now that said, I have to say that a person on Facebook that I knew in my personal life, she put up a little thing that she's kind of got a point. She said, y'all all upset about Diddy, yet y'all got 30-year-old homeboys hollering at 18-year-olds. But y'all ain't ready to have that conversation. I didn't answer it. I didn't post anything about it. But when I thought about it, I said, she's kind of got a point. Because I'll be honest with you, I knew cats that were not quite the age I am now. I recently turned 30. I mean, not 30. I recently turned 50 on October the 3rd. And looking back on it, I knew guys that were in their 20s and 30s back in the day that on the low, some of them I didn't find out about till way later on. Some of them were sleeping around, and some of them were married and had kids with women their age, but they were on the low getting out there hollering at and banging women. Well, I shouldn't say women. They were actually still girls legally. That were like 14, 15-year-olds. You know, it's funny how we'll go in on Diddy, which, by the way, still waiting on that Epstein list. But it's funny how the Diddy list is being threatened to put out there. But we haven't seen that Epstein list yet. Just saying, but that's a whole other subject. It's a whole other conversation that goes into a whole lot of other terms. But it's funny how we'll go in on these big celebrities, yet we got cats in real life around the corner and on our own street corners. Some of them we even know, whether at work, whether at church, whether in our personal lives, we know that, but yet we won't conversate about that. We won't have that conversation. In fact, I knew of a dude in his mid-30s that, and granted, got permission from the family and everything, was dating a woman when she was like 15, married her at 16. And this wasn't all that long ago. This was like in the late 80s, early 90s. Now, even back then, I was not nearly as vocal as I am now. But even back then, I was like, something's off. Now, some people would say, well, if you had the chance to get with somebody younger, you do it too. I'd be like, no, not necessarily, because the way I am, the way I was raised, and the way I was built up, I always stuck with women my age when it came to that. When it came to dating, whether it was sex, if anything, I tend to lean older. Like in my 20s, in my late 20s, early 30s, uh, oldest woman I ever messed with, and it was just a friendly sex thing. I will admit, I ain't gonna say her name or nothing, but she, but she was in her early 50s at the time. If anything, I tended to lean a little bit older. Not like my mom old. My mom's in her mid 70s, by the way, just for context. Not like my mom old or my grandma old, no. But 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 older to be, but still functional, and still look like everything all together. The body still functions. All the teeth there. She still got most of her hair, even if it is gray in some spots. That type of bit older. Or like me being 50. Let's say Vivica A. Fox old, or Lisa Ray old. You know what I'm saying? And if I did go young, it'd be like my actual girlfriend in real life, the Nature Girl 30, like early mid 40s old. You know what I'm saying? Unless I was thinking about still having kids, then maybe mid to late 30s, maybe, if I was still single. But I don't know. Me, I guess I just always had people, even if they went overboard with it, I always had people that kept me straight on things. And even though they did go overboard, and quite frankly, some of it was abusive. And some of it was just, oh, it's Irvin. Well, I'll just go overboard, wilding. But nevertheless, one thing it did do, it made me think twice about a lot of things. That a lot of other cats around me who didn't have that, they either had to learn the hard way, or they were finally punished, but it never sunk in, and they are where they are. Some of them are not even above ground anymore, if you get my drift. But it's so strange how we'll go in on a celebrity like Diddy, and again, don't feel sorry for him, but we'll go in on him, but we won't have that conversation about the pastor at church, or the deacon at church, or the really odd school teacher at your local school, or the famous local celebrity that's on TV, or maybe works in the city government. We won't have that conversation about them, especially if they're popular. Now, if they're not that popular, or if they've always been deemed as, ew, creepy, I don't like him or I don't like her. And it's even more so with women, because we're not ready to have that conversation with women, because a lot of women do it too. But we think it's funny when it's the women going in on younger men. I mean, it's just weird how society picks and chooses based on how they look, what race they are, how much money they have, or their popularity. We'll give them passes that we would not give passes to somebody average. Or let's forget the race part. If they're handsome, or if they're pretty, or they got nice body, or got charisma. I mean, because how long did we take up for R. Kelly until we couldn't take up for him anymore? I'm just saying. But how easily we went in, and he deserves to be go in on, by the way. That EDP 445, that guy, how easily we went in on him. But how long did it take us to finally bend the knee on R. Kelly? I mean, I'm just saying. But she did, that point she brought up, this Facebook person brought up, she did have a point. There's conversations we're not ready to have. We'll have the Diddy conversation all day. Although a lot of it is weird. I mean, who the heck has a 1,000 bottles of baby oil when there's better lubricant out there. I'm not going into all that because I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube, but just saying. Who has 1,000? Who orders 1,000 bottles of baby oil? But it is weird how the human mind. Even I catch myself sometimes. How the human mind. It's just things we're not ready, conversations we're not ready to have. But anyway, enough of my ramble. That's just what I think on the Diddy situation. Do I think he's guilty at least of some of what he does, if not all of it? Yeah, personally I do. But at the same time, let's have that same energy for cats who aren't so famous, but who lurks around the corner, maybe even next door. Let's have that same energy for them as we would a celebrity. Anyway, enough of that. You like what I do? Follow and subscribe. Hit the like button. It does affect the algorithm. And that's all I got to say. I'm out.